This is my presentation of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin D. Roosevelt was born the 30th of January 1882, and he died in the 12th of April 1945. Franklin D. Roosevelt was president from the 4th of May 1933 to the 12th of April 1945. He was the 32nd President of the United States. A fun fact that not many know is that Franklin Roosevelt was actually elected a whole 4 times, which makes him the only president to have had more than 2 presidential periods. And actually, as I found out in many researchers' books, Franklin D. Roosevelt was one of the most influential and one of the best presidents that were at the time, and therefore he was elected all those times. But as you might see the dates here, his 4th presidential period was sadly cut short because of his unfortunate death. When we talk about Franklin D. Roosevelt, many also think of the name Eleanor Roosevelt, and that's completely that's normal, because Eleanor Roosevelt had a very high influence in Franklin's life. As Franklin's wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, influence was both personal and political. Franklin Roosevelt always asked his wife Eleanor of advice when he had to take important decisions, as she really knew a lot about politics and knew how to send a message correctly. But also in his personal life, she was the one to take care of him. Because when you can't move your legs, which Franklin D. Roosevelt was unfortunate not. Let me start over. Franklin D. Roosevelt was unfortunate enough to suffer from polio, which is a nerve disease that in his case made him unable to move his legs. And as so, he couldn't walk around on his own. Either he had to be pushed around in a wheelchair, which was the most common, but in special occasions, for example when he had to make a speech, he got these prosthetics strapped to his legs, which could lock them in a standing position, so he could use them as like standoffs almost. So he could, when he had to make these speeches, he could stand up like any other, showing the power that he had, even though he suffered from this terrible disease. One of the things that Franklin D. Roosevelt did in his time that really inspired me to talk about him was the Lend-Lease Act. The Lend-Lease Act was, in short terms, a period in the World War II where he decided to lend weapons to other countries. Actually, it was the Swedish Queen who made him change his mind, because at first he was very neutral in the war and was very sharply decided that they would have nothing to do with the war, not help, not bomb anyone, not do anything, and stay neutral. But as the Swedish Queen and many others had asked for their help, she came with a different perspective that changed his mind. As she said something like this, that if your neighbor's house are burning, you'll want to help them. You can lend them your water hose. You'll not have them pay for it to help, but you just want it back afterwards. Because if you don't stop the fire, don't help stop the fire, it will spread. And when your house is burnt down, there's not much left to save, and you'll probably regret that you didn't do more. So, yeah, that was all I had. Thank you.